Alright, here again with the Athearn EMD FP45 in Santa Fe, number 98. This is the second Athearn N-scale engine that I have, and this one's a bit special because for the reasonably low price of $99.99, well, $99.98, I got a bit of a special feature with this that we'll see once we've opened up the locomotive. So standard Athearn packaging here. Pull off that lid, pull off this lid, lift up the film, and then pull this out and set it on the track. And then you can see in here the congratulations on the purchase of your new Athearn locomotive with Soundtrack's Tsunami digital decoder installed. This means that this has a digital sound decoder and DCC installed, which is pretty awesome. And you'll get to hear that later on in the video. But for now, let's just do a review on the model itself. The EMD FP45 is a cowl locomotive, meaning that the walkways are inside of this metal shell that's covering the outside, much like F units have passed, except the F units, the cowl actually provided structural support, where this is just placed on top of it. It was produced starting in 1967 at the request of the Santa Fe because they did not want their Super Chief to be pulled by regular hood locomotives. And so they had these custom made from EMD, and the only other railroad to have them was the Milwaukee Road. The FP45 was the passenger variant of the F45, which I have done a review on previously, a Burlington Northern HO Athearn F45. And basically the only real difference is back here, the locomotive is a little bit longer because you have a steam generator back here for providing heat to passenger cars. Starting on the front, you can see the well, rather smooth snowplow. You can see the Athearn coupler. These couplers are kind of annoying, especially the rear one, because they just tends to not like to couple to anything besides microtrains couplers. That's what I found worked best with it. Probably other Athearn ones would probably work too. Then you can see the stairs here. The steps, I'm trying to look now, don't look like they have any sort of safety treads on them, but they do have yellow sort of like caution lines on the edge of it, just so to highlight the edges of the stairs. The walkway, however, does have safety tread, and then you can see the yellow handrails. The handrails, especially the ones that are up against the locomotive, like up against the nose, they look really good because they just they're very thin and they're very tight against the locomotive, and it makes it look very realistic. Then in the middle, on the very front of the nose, you have the Santa Fe logo and the number, well, not number lights, the headlight, which is very different from the number lights in that the headlight works, whereas the number boards that are up on top of the cab do not light up. It seems like if Athearn could get away with not putting lights in anything, they would. It just seems like they don't really like doing lights, considering that every Athearn locomotive, HO or N, that I've had that was supposed to have ditch lights didn't have ditch lights that lit up. They were just painted on. And I don't think, maybe the Athearn Genesis F45 that I had before had lit number boards, but I can't remember because I don't have that anymore because I moved to M. Here's another ankle looking straight on at the front of the locomotive. You can see the black highlighted steps. They are not separately applied like the Atlas -8 that I have not, well, I have shot a video for, but I don't have a narration for because I did it in a different manner. The Atlas, basically Atlas, I've noticed, tend to be pretty good at putting separately applied grab irons where these are molded in. but the fact that they are painted does help, and they actually look pretty good, especially because with N-scale they would be pretty tight against the locomotive, so they don't overall they don't look too bad, especially the ones that are up on top of the nose. Speaking of on top of the nose, you've got two what I assume are sand fill hatches, and then you've got tiny grab irons that you could kind of see there, right there on the nose on either side. And then there's the headlight, which is lit pretty well. And then you can go back and see the windows and the green interior, which is actually kind of cool because I don't know if the real FP45s had the green interiors, but I know that a lot of F units tended to have that shade of green on the interior. And then you can see up where the number boards are, the non-lit number boards are. You can see also a cover over where the headlight would have been had ATIA and SF had chosen a high headlight. And then you can see the horn just above that. Alright, moving on back, you can see the rest of the radiator fans as well as the radiator grills, the rest of the Santa Fe logo, another door with clear plastic insert and molded in handrails, once again the very nice ones. You can see lots of riveting, you can see the actual panels for the cowling going along here. It's really nice. You can see the fuel tank that isn't particularly detailed, but I don't know that that is actually prototypical accurate or not. It might be that plain in real life. I'm not sure. Never seen one. You can also see the rear truck, which looks just like the front truck because they're both trucks. Then you can see back here the steam heater. Right here is about where the F45 part would end, and then the FP45 part is right here, the passenger steam generator for heating passengers. Well, heating passenger cars, rather, well, indirectly heating the passengers, but by heating up the passenger cars. And then you can see the very end of the locomotive, and then we'll turn it around, and you can see the very back of the locomotive. There's, well, I can't tell if it's a door. I assume it's a door. Yeah, a door in the very middle, and you can see these well molded steps on either side. You've got the rear handrails, the brake lines, brake hoses back here are not painted, they're not separately applied, they're still molded in, and unlike the steps, they don't look all that great. I think if they had at least painted them, they actually would have looked pretty good. And there's this coupler that is really like loose, and you can see it moves up and down a lot, and I'm not entirely sure why it's like that, because it looks like it's in all right and tight and everything, so that's a bit odd. And the only difference with this side of the locomotive is there's a third door right here, which means there's little steps on the fuel tank, just so that way a person could get into the door or out of that door. Alright, and with that said, I'm going to take this locomotive to A-Trains, where I'm going to run it on the track and let you hear some of the sounds and get a bit of a different scenery, or lack of scenery, there than right here.